Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited for today's video because we are diving back into the crypto world. And not only are we just diving into the crypto world, we are going to be seeing my beautiful man, coffeezilla. Love covering coffeezilla. But we are covering tuah. Now, we knew that the last time we covered tuah, God, it's so hard for me not to say it without doing the tuah. The tuah girl. So last time we covered her, she was just involved in this huge crypto alleged scam, and then she fled the internet. Remember, we watched her Twitter space where she was like, right, y'all, I'm gonna head out, see y'all in the morning, and then she like left for like months or weeks or something like that. So coffeezilla has done like a huge video on her and talked about her comeback, and I'm so goddamn excited to jump right into it. There's something so interesting about the fact that we've started covering crypto on this channel. I feel like we've really just taken like a detour and we are covering the most random stuff, but I have been loving it, and I know that all of you have been like, this is really weird that we're covering this kind of stuff, but I'm kind of into it. And also, never once did I think that I would be making videos on the tuah Haley Williams, I think is, or Haley Welsh girl. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. These videos just get more unpredictable the time goes on. So let's get to coffeezilla's video. I just want to let you know that tour tickets are now on sale. Opening night is in 1 week in Brooklyn. So if you are in Brooklyn, we are in 1 week opening the Chronically online tour. I cannot wait to meet all the muckers. We are doing Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, LA, Dallas, London, Dublin, Nashville, Philadelphia, Washington, DC, Boston, Minneapolis, Detroit, Chicago again because the first one sold out. Thank you so much. Orlando, Houston, Atlanta, Phoenix, Vegas, San Diego, and San Francisco. And again, if you're in any of these places, please give me recommendations. I'm in each place for like, I don't know, like 1 or 2 days. I need to know where to go, where to eat, where to drink, where are the touristy places. So if you have any recommendations from Brooklyn to San Francisco, I'm doing shows for like, I don't know, is that like 6 months or something like that? I cannot wait to meet all the muckers. The show is so fucking funny. I cannot wait to do it. I just cannot wait to be in a room with all of the muckers. It's going to be super deranged. But if you're in any of these places or you've been to them and you have any recommendations, please let me know. Because again, I'm really just like freeballing it right now. And also my Patreon is linked down below. I am uploading there all the time with exclusive videos. So shout out to everyone who has been supporting the Patreon. It really, really, really means the entire world. So that'll all be linked down below, including the tour tickets. So let's get to it. So coffeezilla, the beautiful coffeezilla, has uploaded a video. tuah is back. So let's get to it. But before that, Valentine's Day is coming up, babe. Let's get to this. L is for the way you look. Up adamandeve.com and use code Adam at checkout for 50% off 1 item and free shipping in the US and Canada. Hello, muckers. We have not done an Adam and Eve sponsor in a while, and I'm really, really, really excited to let you know that we are sponsored, specifically being in February and only a couple days shy of Valentine's Day. Now, if we are alone this Valentine's Day, do not fret because Adam and Eve have us. And if you're in a relationship, you lucky bitch, don't worry, we've got you as well. Now, Adam and Eve, we have been doing a sponsorship with them for, I think, almost like 4 or 5 years. And we have such an amazing deal with them. If you go to adamandeve.com and use code Adam50 at checkout, you will get 50% off 1 item, literally half off 1 item and free shipping in the US and Canada. Now, they have a bunch of stuff over there. They have games, they have stuff for people who are single, who are in relationships, they have a lot of self-care things. Please, the amount of stuff they've had over there, it has taken me a long time to go through everything. They have so many amazing things. And by the way, whenever we do these sponsorships, literally just read through the comments, you'll see muckers be like, oh, I used it last month and I still use my stuff. Like, I love it. I used it a couple months ago and I love my stuff. Yeah, we are in the month of love. I know a lot of people are feeling the love energy and I know a lot of people aren't, but that's okay because if we go on adamandeve.com and use code Adam50, we can be feeling that love. Now, they have 24/7 customer service. If you don't like your products, you have 90 days. No hassle returns. They are over 50 years in the game for a reason, by the way. And also, a bunch of their proceeds goes to helping fighting the spread of HIV all around the world. So what a dope company to work behind. So again, happy Love Month. I know a lot of people love this month. I know a lot of people hate this month. But if you go on adamandeve.com and use code Adam50 at checkout and get half off 1 item and free shipping in the US and Canada, I think we're all going to have a good Valentine's Day this year. So shout out to Adam and Eve. Thank you so much. Thank you, Muckers, for using this code and supporting me. I really appreciate it. Again, that is Adam50 on Adam and Eve for 50%, literally half off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. And again, you have that 90-day no hassle return, 24/7 customer service. They're over 50 years in the game. They have a ton of products. So shout out to Adam and Eve. Code Adam50, y'all. All right, let's do it.
Tuah Girls back with a released podcast that was immediately disavowed by nearly everyone in it who said, oh, we think there might have been insider trading involved.
Uh-oh.
Was not supposed to go live. They f***ed it up every step of the way. They leaked the podcast, and then they f***ing posted it when it was supposed to be canceled. They f***ed it up twice.
Mess already.
The launch itself.
Accusations flying. The episode got deleted, but it's still out there in the ether now with...
Oh, baby, everything exists online. So wait, they posted the podcast and then deleted it? Oh, Lord. Oh, this is messy. This is why I'm like, why have we not been covering the crypto world before this?
One nitpicking it apart. It's kind of a complete disaster for the Hawk Tuah team. And...
Not the Hawk Tuah team.
With it, I want to go through it because, yes, we do get mentioned in it. Sort of as the book.
My man.
If you rug a coin, you know, we might come after you.
Coffeezilla got on there. Yeah, scary guy. Let me tell you, don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
That scary guy. God, I love that accent. In any of these places I'm touring, am I going to encounter an accent like this? Please let me know down below. I cannot wait.
Whoa. Don't ever want to have a conversation with me. Guys, I'm not intimidating.
She didn't want to have a conversation because when Coffeezilla was pressing her to answer things on that Twitter space, she was like, hey, y'all, I'm going to head out. Good night. And she laughed for weeks.
I'm Joe Rogan inches tall, guys. It's not a striking figure here you're going to be scared of. If you meet me in person, you're not going to be like, you know, relax. It's fine. Just get on the call. Let's have a conversation. I don't understand. And I also thought this was weird because Haley Welch's lawyer invited me on the show. In fact, like really, really wanted me on their show and kept telling me how much Haley Welch liked me. Hence the t-shirt, you know. I used to like Coffeezilla until he wouldn't come on my podcast. Then he is, you know, Voldemort, and we can't mention him. He's scary. Watch out. Don't talk about Coffeezilla. He's intimidating. Here's the message I got from her lawyer. Haley would like to have you on as a guest on her podcast.
You would be the first guest since the failed token launch, and it would get a significant amount of views. Would be very friendly. She really likes you and would like to have a long-form conversation. Ooh, that's so... Wait, the fact they're putting down in print, it would be the first one since the failed token launch? Oh, that's not.
Be the first guest since the failed crypto token launch and would get significant amount of views. Would be very friendly. This guy must not know me. She really likes you. Wow. I thought she didn't want to have a conversation with me. What gives? Well,
Hey, y'all, I'm gonna head to bed.
weeks. You know,
Good night.
I turned into, you know, the most scary man in the world. Now, I denied it. I said, look, I'm not a fan of what she did with Hawk. I have so many questions. You know, I need details.
I think the more details that'll come to light, you'll understand that she's a victim in this. She does care about her fans. She cares about her little Hawk Tuahs. Is that what they're called? Little Hawk Tuahs?
This guy says, I understand your position. I think the more details come to light, you'll understand she was a victim.
This has been very traumatic for her. You know, walking away with millions has been very, very, very traumatic for her.
In this. She does care about her fans.
Why would they put this down in print to Coffeezilla?
Cooperating with all authorities, as well as Berwick Law Group.
Even I know not to do that, and I'm not even that clever.
And basically come on
He just wrote, it's a no from me.
podcast's top priority for the first episode in 2025, guys. Me, the boogeyman. I was honored, to be honest. I was like, wow, I could be on the Talk Tuah show.
Talk to her.
But, of course, I don't want to rehab someone's image who scammed people. And I really felt that questions had not been answered that should have been answered, such as, what was the agreement with Haley Welch and with Doc Hollywood? Very simple question, right? Basically, Haley Welch's position, I was a victim. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how much, I was barely going to make money, 125K plus like, you know, half of 10% of the tokens locked for a year, like this terrible deal I got taken advantage of by these monsters. Like that was kind of their position. And all I wanted to know was, you know, give me the contract. Show me that is.
Pretty fair if they're going to ask him to come on the podcast.
Fortunately, they were not able to give it. He's not in a
Come tape the podcast and I'll let you read it. Oh, this is so manipulative.
can't verify anything you say then. Even what you told
Why would they put this on print to CoffeeZilla?
which I had heard
CoffeeZilla.
Hawk Tuah Girl was going to make 50% of all the profits. And he kind of told me, no, that just applies to the...
No.
Like, oh, well, maybe she's less of a stakeholder in this than I thought. I don't know. I even pinned a comment on it, which we'll talk about. I said, no idea if that's real. He says, come tape the podcast and I'll let you read it.
This is so weird.
This was really skeevy. I thought that's weird. And not even like let me post it, but just read it. That's super weird. And in general,
Can't believe they put that down in print.
situations, going on people's podcasts where I've reported on them, they are highly likely to do sketchy editing, to try to
Undermine.
kind of control the situation so they look as good as possible, obviously. But
Because again, if you've exposed someone and you go on their podcast and they give you the villain edit, they can then make you look bad, which obviously...
I don't think that ever makes sense. Like for me, reporting on a scam,
CoffeeZilla, go and talk to her.
it doesn't work. So I say no. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, they bring FaZe Banks on because FaZe Banks is like the closest thing to doing what I did as well on the live stream. He also confronted Doc Hollywood, and so he was sort of one of the people that broke the news. So I thought, okay, that's a pretty natural guy to bring on your podcast.
I can't believe this episode's been deleted then.
Reached out to me and said, hey, I'm probably going to do this podcast. Do you have any questions that you'd like to get answers to? I said, yes, I do. I'd really like to see that contract. Now, spoiler alert, FaZe Banks didn't get to see it either. They didn't get to show it. But he also told me, look, we're going to tell everyone, do not talk about this show. It doesn't work if you talk about it because people are going to front run the coin. That's sort of how you guys got into this mess. This would be a disaster if you do that. So our only stipulation, these guys are very positive about crypto, much more like they kind of wanted to like rehab her image basically in the crypto space. So it's like a dream get for
Dream?
Haley Welch.
Dream?
Amazing.
Do not call Dream queer.
Because FaZe Banks is basically going to like make it be like, oh,
If you know, you know.
really mean to do that, right?
Shout out Dream.
But, he's going to ask some questions, whatever. Well, turns out that didn't go so well because when this podcast went live, I thought maybe things went well. Turns out it didn't because Banks released this. He said, I agreed to do our first podcast back. I had heavy stipulations of not letting the market get manipulated.
God, not it going wrong.
Team finding a real solution regarding the money she made. Those were non-starters.
Sorry, again, I try to find so much sympathy with people that invest in like crypto things that turn out to like be alleged scams or whatever. But like giving your money to Hawk Tuah Girl, at a certain stage, we've got to say you deserve it. Come on, please. Jesus Christ. Maybe you shouldn't have money. Give it to me.
People leaked or insider traded the token. We noticed a random spike in volume on the coin the day we did the podcast, along with random messages asking if we did the podcast. So are you guys getting this? Somebody front ran the podcast to buy up all the coins because they knew, ooh, everyone's going to like it when they release this podcast. Let's front run the coin, which is just horrible. It's like, what, do you want to re-victimize people?
I love that I'm starting to understand crypto now.
They're like, look, even the people most charitable towards Hawk Tuah say, we're out. We're done. But today, the episode got leaked. Apparently, there was an agreement. The podcast is never going out, but today it got leaked. I say that because some of the accompanying clips that got clipped seem to be good for Haley Welch.
Mrs. Hawk Tuah.
About the rug pull, and people were saying maybe they kind of felt bad for her.
Also, I just cannot believe that, I'm not going to say y'all, because I know it's probably not y'all watching this video, but the fact that she has built a career off of being interviewed where she went Hawk Tuah on that thing. God, if only we could all have it that easy.
Right from this leaked show. Here's Dexerto saying, Haley Welch broke down in tears while talking about the alleged rug pull of her.
I want to start by saying thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff.
What does a true fan of Hawk Tuah look like? Like, I don't get it. How has she pulled this off? It's genius. Like, oh God, who are these people that are true fans of Hawk Tuah? I've got to see them.
Like, keep up with me.
Love her accent though.
And stuff to like get all this figured
Sounds
out.
like Sandy from
Make
SpongeBob.
everything right. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
No, you're not. FaZe Banks canceled the episode. Are you guys getting that? He was like, I can't be a part of this. And they posted the clip. I can't believe it. That's unbelievable. Do y'all understand how insane that is?
How this idea got brought to me, it was supposed to be like what do they call it, a long-term coin. And the guy that ran the account, he was like, oh, we're going to change like the way everybody thinks of crypto. Crypto's going to be a good place.
For Hawk Tuah is going to start a revelation.
Affected by it, and it just didn't go the way I planned.
That's right, guys. Haley Welch is very sorry. She wants you to know she did not intend it to go that way. And that podcast clip, yes, it wasn't supposed to go out, but it just leaked. We don't know how. I approached, of course, the guys behind it, and they said it was an editor mistake. Oh, oops.
That it got leaked?
The guys who interviewed us thought we may have insider traded the coin, but this guy says he vouches for the internal team, saying it was none of them. And Better, which is Jake Paul's team, I guess.
Oh my God, because he runs the podcast, right?
Something like that, guys. Believe
Of course.
me, we will likely never know the info leak. The clip posting leak today was an accidental by Better's editor who had the episode in the YouTube queue waiting on approvals to release.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if this is true or false. I thought the weird thing about this video is that like anyone in media who's like had a sensitive episode recorded, you don't like do all the work if you think it might get canned. Like obviously, right? These people not only edited the show, they put
Front loaded it on YouTube?
the leaked version of
Oh.
the episode. Okay? So I'm not saying it didn't leak.
Hashtag sponsored.
I'm saying it's highly convenient.
This started. Game Time believes in me, y'all, and I believe in them.
Game Time's more loyal than most of y'all's mans out here.
This video was sponsored?
Opportunity they get. Not Game Time.
Not Game Time, guys. Game Time wouldn't leak an episode on you. So that's just the start of this atrocious episode.
God, this is so wonderful.
Now that it's out,
This is so wonderful.
I did take a look at it, and it made me think twice about something that I've been trying to get to the bottom of for a while, which is that contract. The contract I keep asking about. Who was supposed to make the money, right? That's always the question.
Money.
In a case like this, that's what the boogeyman wants to know.
Shout out Mr. Krabs. Money.
Whose bed to get under to scare them at night. And I've been repeatedly asking this, and as I've said, basically their position is that she was just the small fry. She was the dupe. She was the person who got tricked into promoting this thing, right? This scam. But
Isn't that always the way?
that confused me because I've heard two things. I've heard Haley Welch is getting half of everything, which is she's not the mark. She's like one of the main players. Or two, she's basically getting $125K and nothing else. Well, I heard this during the show and it made me think interesting.
Like half the money, it was supposed to go like into my charity. That's really why I agreed to do it.
Did you hear that?
Like half the money.
Half the money. Now that's
But she was supposed to get half the money.
different from what we've been told, which is like, oh,
Oh, Hawk Tuah. Oh, Mrs. Hawk Tuah.
the part about the charity is true. That it was all supposed to go to charity. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Again, that's why I keep asking about the contract. Now, I went to their lawyer and I was like, look, I don't understand the secrecy with the contract. You could settle this so easily.
This is crazy. Give me a second. I'll answer you on a phone call. Baby, let's put it down in text.
This guy says, I'm on a phone call. Then he says something he's been saying the whole time. As I've said, the 50% of net proceeds, that's apparently what she's talking about, half the money, was from the mutually agreed upon allocation of tokens. 10% locked for 1 year with a 3-year vest thereafter. Memetic, which is Doc Hollywood, was to get the other 50% of the 10%. So not 50%, only like 5%, 1 year locked up.
He gets that 5%.
If you guys don't know that. And then he says her intention was to give her side to charity. We never got far enough down the road to make those questions. With regard to not sharing the contract, we can't.
God, this is all so complicated, isn't it?
Now, this is where I finally had to play some of the cards that I had kept close to the chest up till now. See, I've been talking behind the scenes.
I've been talking to ya.
Right? And
Talking to ya.
I got a very interesting insider document that a lot of people don't know about. This is from Doc Hollywood himself, which, if you remember, is like the key guy. Here he is saying, we'll do best to make it as simple as possible. The pre-sale raise is 50-50 Project Haley. Fees for market making and LP is split between us and Haley 50-50. Now that's
Pretty sure they spelled Haley's name wrong
a
there.
very different story than I've been told up until this point. It wasn't 50-50 pre-sale. Like, that's millions of dollars pre-sale. The fees were millions of dollars, okay? Or like $1 million. And that's what I say. Story's very different. This guy says, I think you can safely distrust anything coming from Doc Hollywood's mouth. He's denying it. He's saying, that's not true. And then he says, look, I just can't have the contract published online, willing to let you see it with your own eyes, and saying that's why he was going to let
God, this is so shady. He's not bright, he wrote.
messages were prior to the failure.
The defense being, he's not bright.
I don't understand.
Could the question marks?
Would Doc lie? Like, this isn't him saying it to cover himself later. It's him, like, talking in a chat
Talking to ya.
back then. So, once again, Christian denies it. He goes, he's not bright. I said, I don't understand your position. You want me to not trust internal messages from before the launch and trust you who refuses to produce evidence. This guy says, look, I can tell you what I think, but I don't have any way of proving this.
Hello?
You said on the podcast you negotiated the contract personally.
I negotiated the contract with the company.
I don't get why Haley would benefit
God, I love him clocking.
if what you said is true. And this is really how I feel. Half of 10% of tokens plus 125K makes 0 sense for someone who's bringing in all of the name recognition. Like, you're bringing the whole thing.
It's the Talk to ya coin.
Measly piece of the pie? It doesn't check out. Like, 125K is a lot of money. But they made like $4 million. So then he says this. The contract says you
Insane amount of money. But
125K on signing, 200K within 30 days of launch. Interesting. We didn't know that. And 50% of the net proceeds of the project with mutually agreed upon tokenomics. The tokenomics we agreed to were for half of the 10% of the tokens. Now, I want you guys to realize that what he just said is backtracking on what he's been saying.
that doesn't make sense at all.
She's been saying the entire time, oh, it's just 50% of the 10%. 50% of the tiny amount of tokenomics we're going to need. No. What he's saying here, finally, he's giving us the real story. It's 50% of the net proceeds of the project, period. That is completely different from what they've told me. And so I say 50% of the net proceeds.
The way he's talking in capital letters, this fucking diva.
Net proceeds, which is market making, pre-sale. This is like $4 million that they talked about.
Oh, this is so much money.
And I don't know if he's just trying to play dumb.
Just on the line, these people are so out of touch.
The him fees and pre-sale funds were going to be used to run the
Who
project.
is paying for this?
Guys, it was $4 million. You think it takes
This is
$4
so
million
bad.
to run a meme coin? Or like 3.9 million? Sorry, it's like 3.9, I think. How are you getting that 50% only applies to 10% of the tokens? I'm baffled. You think they need $3 million to run a meme coin? 3 plus, 3.9 roughly. The dev team, by their own admission, said they had 4 guys. 4 guys do not need to split $4 million 4 ways.
Such a crazy amount of money.
And so then they just kind of start doing this weird dance. And it got me like realizing like, yeah,
The way they're talking to coffeezilla and not making sense and going back and forth, it's like, did they not know that this diva's not going to clock the shit out of them? What have we learned? This diva knows how to fucking clock. Stop putting things down in text. That's why they keep being like, let's hop on a call. Let's hop on a call. We want to talk.
get out of it. Like, if you think for a second they would have said, oh, we only want the 10% if this project succeeded, you're mistaken. They would have asked for the millions of dollars. Now they're saying it because that money's getting them in trouble, right? There's a lawsuit about that money. So they're saying, oh, we weren't entitled to that. No, that's not us. Christian Baker said, we didn't even know the amount of money raised from the pre-sale until launch. I say, yes, but you're entitled to that per the literal contract. Also, we were told Meteora.
Also, if they just showed the contract, it would end a lot of confusion. Why are they not showing the contract?
Obviously, that didn't happen. And he said, my understanding is that a large tranche of the pre-sale money was put in the LP. We didn't have the access to the dev. We don't know what wallets. We were also told...
Oh, mama, this is not good. All this over Hawk Tuah.
That didn't happen either. And once again, this is where I have to play some of my cards. Because like I said, I've been investigating this. I'm being told, oh, we weren't going to make any money. And I'm just trying to say, like, you guys aren't the victims. I hope you guys are understanding that this is kind of my feeling in all this. They're trying to be like, oh, we barely made a dime. And that's just not true. Like, that's not what they stood to make. I said, what do you mean? You told me I could disregard what Doc said. Remember, he said, oh, you can disregard it. But y'all literally had a contract for 50% of net proceeds. Doc himself said the project was going to cost a few $100,000. If that's the case, pre-sale $2.8 million, fees $1 million, made almost $4 million. Y'all are contractually owed like $1.6 million. And then I shared another insider text I have from Doc Hollywood, where he says,
This diva has receipts.
project has cost. Like, we spent a few $100,000 on the project already. That money will be paid back to us off top. Then the profit
To us.
If a few $100,000 is what it costs and the profit's paid out, who's the profit entitled to? Hawk Tuah Girl. That's who it is. And we're all being gaslit about like, oh, I'm the victim.
God, this is so fucking shady.
Wrong. You wanted to make no money after you realized the money is like being scrutinized and being sued over and possibly being looked into by law enforcement. Like, we don't know. So this literally drives me crazy. And then he goes, where's this from, if you don't mind me asking? I say, well, it's an insider chat, allegedly between Doc and the team members. And then he says, you're right that as it stands, she may be entitled to whatever amounts. However, she was supposed to have mutual approval.
Keep in mind, this is the woman then that's crying, being like, it just didn't go the way it was supposed to.
On tokenomics, her not being given the opportunity to approve the transaction fees, SAFs, and pre-sale identities led to the end result. So literally, he's admitting that he's been not telling the truth about how much money they stood.
God, these people are not clever for having this in-person, like, over text convo.
Dollars from a scam? Like, what? I can't believe they said this. It's insane. So that was a huge revelation. We finally got that out of them. They've been saying this whole time. They even said it during the pod. This guy kind of did this whole thing of like the back end. Oh, the back end, it's only like 50% of 10% locked up for a year. And when the managers take their cut, it's like this tiny amount of money.
Back end, there was a 10%
Just downplaying how much money they're making.
token that would be on a 1-year lock and then a 3-year drip after that. Of that 10%, half of that was supposed to go to the company that created the project and half was to go to her. So out of 100% of the total,
Her nodding along as if she fucking understands.
5% at the end. Obviously, she has lawyer, manager, business manager.
They're downplaying how much money she's making.
Over a quarter.
I just found this unbelievable.
This is crazy.
Playing the victim. And that's kind of my problem with this whole thing. Look, I can believe a lot of plausible stories here. Now, I really don't believe anything they tell me at this point, but I could be convinced that this might be the case. Maybe it's the case that Hawk Tuah's team was under the impression
Hawk
that
Tuah's
all these
team.
resale investors were locked up for a month, right? That's what they told me. Again, I don't believe them necessarily, but it's plausible, right? I asked him, when did you learn that the insiders had 0 lockups? He says, when they started dumping. I was told all along the SAFs had a 1-month lock, 1-year linear vest thereafter. I can tell you what I think happened, but I don't have any way of proving it without seeing the SAFs. I have the SAFs, so I can tell you what happened. The pitch deck did say it was a 1-month lockup, okay? And then you get the SAFs, the actual token agreements with like the real investors. No lockup. Wah, wah. That's how it all kind of went down, fellas.
He's such a fucking
They
diva.
lied and they deceived people with fake investment lockups. Like, they gave a pitch deck that was not really what the pitch deck ultimately turned out to be. Whether that was a last minute change, whether there's some great way to explain it, I don't think there is. But look, you can believe that, right? But Haley Welch's team this whole time has been acting like so unbelievably dishonest in how they're framing all this to try to make her look like as sympathetic as possible, instead of admitting, like, actually, we did have some complicity in this. Maybe we should have asked more questions. We did stand to make way more money than we've let on in a lot of these interviews and with journalists, and we haven't been exactly forthcoming about that. So it makes it hard to be charitable, which kind of they're wanting you to be if we can't see these contracts, if we don't know what they knew, right, at the time when all this stuff happened. And it clearly was a scam because the pitch deck said one thing. They said it was a lockup. The SAFs said it wasn't a lockup. But it's hard to be charitable, right, when this is kind of the way they're interfacing. Even with the FaZe Banks crew, who wanted to be charitable to her pretty explicitly. Like, they were like, look, even when they talked about me, they're like, hey, it's not going to be that bad. We're not going to be like coffeezilla.
Yeah, scary guy. Let me tell you, don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
We're a little bit more charitable than coffee. I think coffee.
What, because he brings the fucking facts? Because he understands what's going on? These people here are wearing tuah merch.
Staying for crypto in general.
Fucking annoying. Just the amount of money that's on the line.
See crypto succeed.
Even those guys.
Not we want to see crypto succeed.
That they have like a bias towards being charitable, right? Maybe I have a bias for being scary. But even they don't want anything to do with her team because her team is leaking stuff, messing up, like all this stuff with supposed insider trading. Again, their team denies it. I got to be clear about that. But clearly somebody was trading on the information, which they shouldn't have, and then leaking the episode as an accident. So, yeah, I just wanted to cover this story, just explain how bad faith they've sort of been throughout this, some of the revelations we've learned since then, and also admit there's plenty we don't know that I hope will be revealed in this lawsuit, which is happening about this coin, fighting for this money, that clearly Haley Welch's team is like, oh, we don't want that anymore. We just want to, we want to say we're not entitled to any of that. And so I do hope in that lawsuit things actually come out and victims get their money back. But yeah, I just wanted to cover.
Okay, wow, that's crazy. And it's funny how they wanted to make so much money until there was a lawsuit, and now it's, hey, we were never going to make any money to start with. Now, again, that's one thing. I think it's incredibly shady. I think it was an opportunist move from her and her team to make a bunch of money, and now when it's went wrong, they want no involvement in it. But again, I cannot end this video fundamentally without saying, with a lot of love, if you are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, even $1 in a tuah coin, you deserve to be locked up. You should not have access to your money. What the fuck is wrong with you? You deserve to get scammed. What the fuck? Muckers, I'm so glad we didn't update. You know what? I love this diva that continues to fucking clock. I will see y'all in my next one. Please make sure to use code Adam50 on adamandeve.com for 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. And I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.